My sincerest apologies. I didn't mean to offend you or your people, said Dr. Eadat Joez, very calmly raising his green hands in the air. The massive Clenmore insect's face scrunched in on itself, and he sneered out a noise of disgust and brandished his weapon, blade pointing directly at Joe's face.
Ah! More insults. You think I won't have your head?
His wings zipped for a split second with this threat. Dr. Joez almost replied, but then paused. Insults? What did I say insulting that time?
Using your gaudy Aramaic, the bug replied. I don't know what sincerest apologies means. You're trying to hide information, possibly signaling backup nearby.
Joe's hands lowered slightly. No, I was apologizing. I wasn't trying to offend you or your people when I got here. And that's admitting Have you never been apologized to before? Dr. Joez suddenly asked, changing the subject. The Clenmore insect rider stared curiously. The tree-like alien standing in front of him wasn't scared of him. Instead, the green invader looked confused. The bug himself started to become confused as well. Underneath all of the insectoid beef, Dr. Joez could see two little white eyes, and the furrowing brow ridge told him something was happening behind those eyes. Some gears turning, maybe. His shining black and orange carapace held perfectly still. Every thick muscle contour was traced with a layer of natural armor, an outer shell almost strong enough to stop one of those classical metal bullets. Dr. Eadat Joez had heard the rumors about the Clenmore. One rumor had it that lasers were brought into warfare specifically to deal with the Clenmore and the Atlanteans during the Universe War. Evidently, this had worked rather well in the Atlanteans, as they didn't exist anymore, and any other subspecies of human was an endangered species, kept only alive in nature preserves. Hell, Dr. Joez had seen to that himself. But the Clenmore... Another rumor had it that the Clenmore still held Atlantean secrets from their incredible battles with ancient man. And that is why Dr. Joez was on the planet of Clenmore Dathuman in the first place.
Why would I need an apologizing? What is that for? Boomed a strangely high-pitched but still powerful voice.
It's for when you don't need to fight with someone. They want to admit to wrongdoing and make up, said Joez, now knowing he was gaining control of the situation. Don't need to fight? The bug paused, seemingly lightening his grip on his huge metal spear, just a tad, as he thought this through.
Disgusting, he concluded, returning his grip to normal.
Ah, said Dr. Joez with a hand wave. What if you and someone who wishes to apologize have a common goal? Said Joez, relaxing his arms even more, now even sticking them out to the side. For example, I can see you're guarding ancient human pyramids, he said with a gesture to the pyramid in the distance. Can I assume you have an interest in humans? The Clenmore insect rider held still. Then his wings zipped for a split second. A sign of interest? Thought Joez.
Yes, very much, the Clenmore spit out, eyes squinting. Do you? Is that why you're here?
That's why I'm here.
Well, why are you alone?
Well, I had 2 guides, but they were killed by your people.
The bug retightened his grip again. That makes too much sense.
Dr. Joez wasn't sure what he meant by that. I wanted to learn about the connection between ancient man and the insect riders. The UIC archives don't have very much from Clenmore. Then the monstrous insect's muscles relaxed just a smidge. He paused again, staring. Then all at once, he rested his spear against his side, blade against the ground, and stood at ease.
Oh, I could talk about humans all day, the insect said with a flamboyant wave of his hand. The insect riders extincted them. Joe's heart sank.
You brought them to extinction?
Yep, he said with a raise of his heels, almost proud. Fun fact. The extermination of mankind is the only Holocaust the insect riders have ever regretted, he said, now clearly proud. We even learned the very concept of diplomacy to try and put it off. We didn't want to.
Dr. Joez was frozen in shock and horror.
Why?
He asked, pissed by the answer but needing more information.
Why what? Diplomacy? Gross, I know. But our kinship with the humans, it meant that much to us, he said, slowing down from his excited tempo to a more somber one. They were the only kind that loved war as much as we do, and they were the only species uglier than us. Extermination was completely necessary since it violated ancestral religious Clenmore territory laws, but man, we really didn't want to do it, he said, now rubbing his spear nervously. He had answered the wrong question, not the one Joe had asked, but still gave the answer Joe had been looking for. Joez was suddenly unsure if he should reveal that he himself had discovered the only other existing human colony left, and even acquired the UIC funding necessary to convert it into an endangered species preserve. Would you kill another one if you found one? He asked as a test. The insect writer raised an eyebrow ridge at this odd question. No, I don't suppose so. Not automatically, of course. While it would be so amazing to lay claim to slaying a human, if they hadn't attacked me, I'd rather just speak to them, he said, throwing his arms out at just how cool that thought was. Actually meeting a human. Joez breathed out a tiny sigh of relief, hidden so the Clenmore wouldn't see, then made a mental note and returned to the subject at hand. So you guard their pyramids? I do. It's a family profession, he said, now very proud. My whole mama's line are dedicated to preserving the ancient structures and memories of humans, he said, now sitting on the ground, crisscross applesauce and rolling the spear around like a toy. These are the finest preserved human original pyramids in our whole universe. Our grandmamas and the Council of Mamas have assigned my whole brood's holy duty to keeping them in perfect condition as a monument to the only species that ever truly befriended us. He kind of looked down when he spoke those last words. Now it was all clicking. This big buff warrior was just a big nerd for ancient civilizations, especially human ones. He was a lot like Joez, actually. Could you show me? Said Joez, snidely thinking he had finally made a connection was getting his way. Hey, wait a minute! I'm supposed to be killing you, said the insect rider, standing up and returning to battle stance. But what if I could take you to meet a human? Joe quickly threw out before he was gored. The insect rider stopped, mid-battle readying, and he blinked. What? He began to slowly drop his weapon again, but intentionally this time, for the first time, his head raised, as a token of apology for offending you and your people. There was that word again, apology. The Clenmore's antennas twitched. What is this? What do you mean? Not killing someone if they can do something really cool for you. What is this? Joe paused and had to ponder it. He'd never been asked a question that simple before. Mercy? Yes, mercy. Yeah, and if you accept my apology, help me with my report on humans, you're showing me mercy. In return, I'll bring you to a human preserve I helped to establish. The insect rider's massive arm raised his right hand to his chin, and his finger rubbed endlessly. His brow ridge furrowed constantly until it ached his forehead, and 1,000,000 emotions crossed his face at once. Then slowly he lifted his head, and he stared the green orchard bark in front of him directly in the eyes, and then fell to his knees, his spear slamming against the ground with an ear-splitting metallic clang. You're like a genius from beyond the stars. His eyes glittered like a man who'd just taken a Jobian tour of the cosmos. Ah, that's just friendship, Joez said with a wave of his hand. Keeping a few people around worth not killing. You help my happy ass out with my report on mankind, and we can be friends. How's that? That's like slavery, but we're each other's slaves, the bug said excitedly. Joez paused. It wasn't technically wrong. Friendship could really put one through the paces. Joe meant it, but not that much. He meant it enough. In all honesty, he was not looking for any more close friends right now. Not since the military. Not since Jonky. Not since he learned how friendship could be like slavery.
He was the kind of guy who'd call to check in on this insect rider buddy of his from time to time, because he certainly didn't want to be a liar. But Joez never expected himself to really become attached to anyone, ever again. If only Dr. Eadat Joez knew what he was getting himself into. If only he knew then that this particular Clenmore insect rider was going to become the best friend he had for the rest of his life. The doc then extended his hand to help the Clenmore up off the ground. The Clenmore slowly smiled, having been shown an entirely new world. Literally shown a whole new world. Dr. Eadat Joez had just taught him how to behave away from his home planet, and indeed would take him to other worlds eventually. The Clenmore then extended his arm and took Joe's hand and pulled, yanking Joe straight to the ground. "Ah!" shot out from Joe's mouth as he face-planted into the dirt. The big bug then raised himself, making sure to grab his spear on the way up. Then on his feet, he extended his hand to help Joe up. "Nice to meet you, foreigner. My name is Dave, Clenmore insect rider from planet Clenmore Dathuman," he said with a powerful handshake and a salute from the arm trying to hold the spear. "Nice to meet you, Dave. Dr. Eadat Joez, Green Oucherbark, from planet Green Oucherbark," he said, returning the firm grip and respecting the handshake he'd just been given.